July 10, 1969. The mail ship Picardy spots a dot on the horizon. It is a trimaran, a strange design for that time. The sails are down, but the boat is undamaged. It is simply drifting in the Sargasso Sea. There is no place for lies in the ocean. The ocean is absolute truth. If you are weak, it will break you. If you make a mistake, it will kill you. But what if a person tries to deceive the ocean itself? Rescuers climb aboard. They shout, "Is anyone alive?" But the only response is the creaking of the mast. On the table in the cabin are open cans of food, as if someone was about to have breakfast. The chronometer ticks. But the captain, Donald Crowhurst, is nowhere to be found. They find the logbooks, 4 notebooks. What they read inside frightened them more than any storm. It was not the story of a shipwreck. It was a chronicle of the collapse of the human mind. The story of a man who had trapped himself in a situation from which there was only one way out. To understand this horror, we need to go back a year, 1968, England. The Sunday Times newspaper announces a crazy race, the Golden Globe. The task? To sail solo, non-stop, around the world. The prize? £5,000, a huge amount of money. Donald Crowhurst was not a professional. He was an engineer, an inventor, a dreamer, and a failure. His navigation device business was falling apart. He had 4 children and a mountain of debt. For him, this race was not a sport. It was his only chance to save his life. He mortgages his house. He takes sponsorship money, putting up all his assets as collateral. If he doesn't get started, he's bankrupt. If he loses, he's bankrupt. He has no choice. He builds the Tinmouth Electron, a revolutionary trimaran. But there's no time. On the day of departure, the boat is not ready. The hatches are leaking, the wiring is not secured. He didn't even have time to raise the sail before the start. Donald stands on the deck, smiling at the cameras, waving to his wife. But in his eyes, there is fear. He knows that he is setting sail on a coffin. Reality hit him immediately. The boat was slow. The hull was leaking. After 2 weeks, Donald realized that he would never make it through the roaring 40s, the zone of terrible storms around Antarctica. If he went there, the boat would fall apart and he would die. Logic said, turn back, admit defeat. But creditors were waiting at home. Shame, poverty for his children. His pride would not allow him to give up. And so, somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, he made a decision that sealed his fate. He decides not to sail around the world. He decides to deceive everyone. The plan was ingeniously simple and monstrous. He would drift in the safe Atlantic while the others circumnavigated the globe. And then, when they returned, he would tag along at the rear and finish. He starts keeping 2 journals. One is truthful, where he writes about leaks and boredom. The other is fake, for the judges. There he describes fictional storms, record speeds, and passing the Cape of Good Hope. He sends radio messages. Past Africa, going for the record. In England, newspaper headlines scream about the new hero. The world admires him. And Donald sits in a stuffy cabin off the coast of Brazil, afraid to turn on the radio for fear of accidentally revealing his position. Isolation, silence, heat, months of solitude. The human brain is not designed for this. When you are alone in the universe and your whole life is a lie, the line between reality and fiction becomes blurred. Donald stopped repairing the boat. He began to repair the universe. Donald's plan worked perfectly, too perfectly. His rivals began to drop out. One sank, another went mad. And suddenly, Donald realized something terrible. He wasn't just going to finish, he could win. Victory meant death. The winner would be scrutinized. Experts would study his logs. The deception would be exposed. He would be branded a fraud before the whole world. He had driven himself into a zugzwang. He couldn't win, he couldn't lose, he couldn't go back. In recent weeks, his journal had turned into nonsense. 25,000 words. But not about the sea, about mathematics, about God, about how he had become the cosmic mind. He wrote for 18 hours a day, forgetting to eat. He proved to himself that he could leave this world by the power of his mind. I'm out of the game. There's no point in continuing to torture myself. It's over. It's over. It's mercy. July 1, 1969, 11:20 a.m. Donald Crowhurst wrote his last word. He carefully put down his pen. He stood up. He picked up his chronometer, a symbol of the time he so desperately wanted to cheat, and he stepped overboard. When his boat was found, the world was shocked. At first, he was considered a fraud. But then, after reading his diaries, people saw the tragedy. This is not a story of deception. It is a story of how the pressure of success breaks a person. The ocean does not forgive lies. But perhaps, in that final moment, as he plunged into the blue abyss, Donald finally found what he was looking for: peace, truth, and the end of the game.